It's the final race of the season for the Prototype Cup Germany 2025. Hello everybody, welcome along to Spielberg. We're up in the Styrian Mountains at the Redbull Ring. I'm pleased to say that all that low cloud that we had yesterday has cleared. The sun is out. We have a temperature of nearly 20 degrees centigrade, which is perfect for the season closer for the Prototype Cup Germany. The overall championship has now been decided. That was decided last time out at the Nürburgring, and Danny Sufi and Pavel Lefterov become the champions of the fourth season of this championship, organised by the ADAC in partnership with Creventic. But the junior championship is still very much up for grabs. The driver you see there on pole position, Kiana Alazari, returning to this championship for the first time since round one. But alongside him on the front row of the grid is one half of the driver pairing that is leading in the junior championship. It's Max Angelard and Mattis Blushkull who lead Maxim Dirks by just 4 points in the junior championship. Also in the running, yesterday's winners, Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen and Riccardo Cirelli. They are 11 points back in the junior ranking. The trophy championship has already been decided. That's gone the way of Thomas Ambiol. The team standings also very close. Conrad Motorsport and BWT Mucker, they are separated by just 12 points in favour of Conrad Motorsport. So Maxim Dirks says, I am moving forwards. He's starting fifth on the grid. His main championship rivals in the junior ranking starting second. Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen is starting in third, and he is third in the junior rankings. But there's lots of other cars around. Danny Sufi, along with Pavel Lefterov, will be looking to get those points. It's Lefterov who will start off behind the wheel of the Conrad Motorsport car to try and gain the team championship. Maxim Dirks behind him, and then Zeno Folker, another driver in the Conrad Motorsport car, as only the fastest car of a particular team, the leading car of a particular team, that will score the points. So it really is gloves off for Conrad Motorsport and BWT Mucker. There's also Thomas Ambiel, who would love to finish off his season with a podium, and Miro Konopka making a guest appearance here at the Redbull Ring, the 63-year-old from Bratislava, and we welcome ARC Bratislava making their first appearance of the season. I mentioned briefly Kiana Alazari, the driver who was so impressive last year. He's had a couple of wins here in the Prototype Cup Germany. He only appeared at Spa-Francorchamps at the start of this year. And so just for the season closer, he's come back again, and he has scored that pole position in the number 21 car that is fielded by Mulner Motorsport. He's sharing the driver duties with bronze-rated driver Marcel Kopp, and all the drivers here are rated by the FIA. You have silver drivers and you have bronze drivers. The bronze drivers are more of the gentleman drivers, the amateur drivers. The silver drivers are more towards the professional drivers. So depending on the pairings in each car, and depending on whether there's two drivers or one driver, will determine what happens when they come into the pits. There will be a pit window that will open during the race, and it will open in the 22nd minute. So when the clock says 33 to go, the pit window will open, and every car will need to come in that 10-minute window for a mandatory stop, and in the case of where it's got two drivers registered, a driver change as well. We'll explain more about that as we get towards the window. At the moment, the instruction has been given, and the rumble of these cars, these V8 Nissan 5.6 litre naturally aspirated engines, 455 brake horsepower, they make the ground shake. Exclusive drivetrain suppliers Orica, the engine, transmission and electronics. The cars have traction control, but no powered steering, no ABS. The ground shakes when you're walking in the grandstand and one of these, or more than one of these, come past, you certainly know all about it. The roar around the stands here at the Red Bull Ring is deafening as the car starts on the first of 2 formation laps. Fairly short circuit at 4.318 kilometers around with 10 turns, 7 to the right, 3 to the left. So the race director giving the drivers 2 formation laps to get the heat into the tyres and into the brakes. These cars all about downforce, all about ground effect. So really important to get everything up to temperature on this, the first of 2 formation laps. When we start the second formation lap, the 55-minute countdown clock will start, and it will be 55 minutes plus 1 lap for this, the final race of the season, that has Chiana Alazari for Mulder Motorsport on pole position, with Mattis Plushkol, the leader in the junior ranking, alongside him. Then Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen and Pavel Lefterov, they'll be pushing hard from row 2 of the grid. On row 3 of the grid, Maxim Dirks, the one who's doing all the chasing in the junior ranking. The solo driver, Zeno Folker, keep an eye on him. He starts on row 3 in position 6. On row 7, Mikkel C. Johansson for Gebhard Intralogistics Motorsport as the new trophy champion, Thomas Ambiel, alongside with Miro Konopka in 9th place on the grid for ARC Bratislava. So the race, as already mentioned, 55 minutes plus 1 lap with a mandatory stop. So with the cars that are silver drivers, there will be a minimum pit stop time of 95 seconds plus a silver penalty with an additional 20 seconds for pit entry to pit exit. For the drivers that have solo silver pilots, that's Zeno Folker, it's even longer. It's an additional 25 seconds added to the minimum pit stop times. For the bronze drivers, solo bronze drivers, i.e. Thomas Ambiel, their minimum pit stop time, his minimum pit stop time is 95 seconds. For bronze and silver combinations, the minimum pit stop time has an additional 10 seconds, 105 seconds. Sounds complicated, but a great way of leveling the field. If that wasn't complicated enough, yesterday's winners, Riccardo Torelli, Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen, have an additional 6 seconds of stationary time in the pits added on as a success penalty. Yesterday's second place, which was Maxim Dirks and Sven Bart, they have an additional 4 seconds of stationary time added on in the pits. And the third place, Mattis Plushkol and Max Angelard, an additional 2 seconds. It means that once we get through the pit window sequence, the grid can get very jumbled up. But we'll see how that shakes out when we get into the pit stop sequences. We're on the formation lap at the moment, and in a bit, the message will be given to drivers to grid up side by side. It's the second formation lap, so you can see that the clock is now ticking down. So the race effectively underway in terms of time, but they can't overtake now because, of course, they're behind the safety car. And in a moment, the lights will go out, and it'll be Chiana Alazari that will lead the cars over the line about 215 meters from the start-finish line into turn 1. This circuit is a phenomenal circuit, ideal for Prototype Cup Germany. Some very fast sections, particularly out of turn 1, a right-hand turn. They run into turn 2, which is taken flat out up a very steep hill into turn 3. Then the right-hander at the top of the hill into turn 3. Heavy braking there, but a real opportunity between 1 and 3 to pick up a slipstream and to make an overtaking move. We've seen many do that. We've seen quite a few fail doing that as well. But we'll see how it all shakes out, because we are getting ready to go for the final race of the season. Prototype Cup Germany in its 4th season. It started back in 2022. We now see Prototype Cup Germany 2025 style for one last time this year. At a turn 10, they will head towards the lights, and we will be ready to go. Here we go at the Red Bull Ring. Chiana Alazari off that pole position. Keep an eye on Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen on the inside as well. Mattis Plushkol hanging it up around the outside of turn 1. They need to get round this turn 1 into turn 2. Everybody does that. The cars spread out, running side by side. The flat out turn 2 where they pick up the slipstream. Then up into turn 3. Chiana Alazari on the outside because Plushkol has the line into turn 3. Plushkol with a nose in front. Alazari going deep into into the corner. He rejoins, but now down into second place. So Plushkul doing exactly what he needs to do to take the junior title. Now Alazari coming under threat from Matthias Pierre Jakobsen. In towards turn 4 they come. The cars side by side. On the outside there is Pavel Lefterov just tiptoeing around. Also there, Zino Folka in the background, ready to bounce if he gets the opportunity. But your new race leader, Matis Plushkul, in the BWT Muka number 18 car. Keanu Alazari into second place. He'll be frustrated having been mugged at the start. Will want to get back. This young pilot, one of the real up-and-coming stars in racing, as is indeed the case for Matis Plushkul. These two drivers running close together here in third place at the moment. Pavel Lefterov, the driver that we've come to know and love in ADAC GT4 Germany, switching into prototypes. He had a wild moment out of turn 10 though. Gathered it all up. I should think that was a code brown moment for Pavel Lefterov. He'll need a few seconds to regather himself there. Matthias Pierre Jakobsen not quite close enough to take advantage of that. Maxim Dirks will need to push forwards as best he can from 5th place on the grid, because he needs to get in front of the car that is leading the way if he wants to win the junior title here in Prototype Cup Germany 2025. Into turn 3, Matthias Pierre Jakobsen just showing a nose on the inside of Pavel Lefterov. Lefterov with the team championship very much in mind. Towards turn 4 they come, the rumble in the ground. Lefterov now getting lined up by Matthias Pierre Jakobsen. Jakobsen has the inside line into turn 4. If he can get it slowed down, he'll have the advantage out of turn 4. He does just that. Gives the squeeze to Pavel Lefterov and relegates him off the podium positions. So advantage BWT Muka at this point. They've got one of their cars in 1st and in 3rd place. Lefterov shuffled down into 4th place, but he'll try and fight back in the background. Maxim Dirks is there. Also Zina Folka, then is Mikkel C. Johansson, then the trophy champion Thomas Ambiel ahead of Konopka in 9th place. Here comes Plushkul in control at the moment. It was 0.487 last time across the start-finish line. It was 0.63 last time across the sector time. What will it be now as Plushkul crosses the line to stop the clock? 0.8 of a second, 8.5 tenths. So leaving Keanu Alazari in his wake a little bit. Remember, Matis Plushkul has been racing these all season long. Keanu Alazari, the last time he was sat in one of these cars was back in April. So coming back into it, the driver from the United Arab Emirates who has impressed in 2nd place at the moment. Now Maxim Dirks lining up Pavel Lefterov, needs to get his skates on, onto the inside, into turn 3. So Lefterov leaving a gap on the inside, just being very sensible about it, not smashing the wheels off the number 2 car, but he's now shuffled down into 2nd place. There's a puff of smoke in the background, somebody locking up into turn 3. Here we go, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Right, who is this? Oh, well, this is Ambiel collecting a couple of our bollards. Konopka just picking up the dirt in his face on the way through. So those bollards, seriously, if they get trapped under the car, they're going to mess around with the aerodynamics. So hopefully, for Thomas Ambiel, that bollard is speared off into a different direction and out of harm's way. He's had a track limit warning on turn 10. I think we might have just seen evidence of that on our screens. So we see Maxim Dirks in 4th place. 3.6 seconds back from the lead. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. 2 Conrad Motorsport cars running together. Zino Folka was very impressive on his debut at the Lausitzring earlier this year. Didn't have the budget to do a full season, so has not been in the championship hunt. But whenever we've seen Zino Folka, he has been very impressive. Mikkel C. Johansson in the background. Thomas Ambiel. Miro Konopka in 9th place at the moment. The entire field separated by 13 seconds. Plushkul with a 1.5 second lead out of turn 3 once again. And out towards turn 4 we will come. So the pit window will open when the clock says 33 minutes to go. So we've got a little bit of time yet, about 14 minutes. And then it will be the 10-minute window before these cars need to come in for their mandatory stop here at the Red Bull Ring, Plushkall. 1.4 at the moment. Everybody just settling down, playing the long game. Really important. You bring the thing home. You ain't going to score any points if you're parked in a gravel trap or if you've knocked the wheels off it. So everybody pacing themselves. And then when the pit window opens, the strategy will kick in. So Matas Plushkall, who leads the way across the line, when the pit window opens, will have a minimum pit stop time from pit entry to pit exit of 117 seconds. The car in second place, Chiara Alazari, will have a minimum pit stop time of 105 seconds when he hands it over to Marcel Kopp. So a pit stop time that will be 12 seconds shorter than the car that he is following. And the car in third place will have a very long stop, and that will be 121 seconds. That's because of the success of ballast, the success penalty of winning yesterday. So we look down at turn 4. The cars sounding wonderful here in the evening sunlight at the Red Bull Ring. Thomas Ambiel, the champion in the trophy category. He got that signed and sealed back at the Nürburgring a couple of rounds ago. He's been looking really solid in the number 33 car. And Thomas, 45-year-old, rookie season in this championship. He's a businessman. He started racing in 1996. He was in the ADAC VW Lupo Cup in 2002 and 3. It was a bit different. On the VLN, he was a junior champion in 04. And he raced in the VLN till 2007 before giving up racing to focus on his IT business, and returned in 2019, a bit of vintage Group C racing. And then Thomas Ambiel returned to motorsport this year after a long, long break. And wanted to drive a real, honest racing car. Those are his words. Loved the fact that Prototype Cup Germany opted to run those growling 8-cylinder engines this year. Of course, the LMP3s around the world going to a later spec. This is the only professional series running the old spec LMP3 cars, the ones that make the ground shake. And then Thomas made the decision on the 12th of February of this year to work with Rinaldi Racing to put the program together. They had to buy all the equipment, they had to put the team together, and they have made it a very successful year in the trophy standings, taking the title with 2 rounds to spare, with 4 races to spare. So coming here to the Red Bull Ring and enjoying his racing in 8th place at the moment. Matas Plushkall at the front. Chiara Alazari, 1.277. So Alazari just keeping him within sight. Right, he's taken a couple of tenths out of the lead. So we're down to 1.062 between first and second. Now make that 9 tenths. So suddenly, Chiara Alazari has found a bit of pace and is closing in on the race leader. Chiara Alazari, who just fancies one of those lovely Red Bull trophies, not interested in points. Matas Plushkall, along with Max Anglard, they need to finish this race. They cannot afford a DNF because they want to win the junior ranking. Matthias Bjerre Jakobsen about 1.7 seconds behind, 11 points behind in the championship. So if things remain as they are now, the junior champion will be Matas Plushkall along with Max Anglard, and second in the junior championship would go to Maxim Dirks with Matthias Bjerre Jakobsen, Riccardo Cirelli, third in the junior championship. But we've still got plenty of racing to come. Still 42 3/4 minutes remaining. Matas Plushkall sharing the car with Max Anglard. Chiara Alazari sharing the car with Marcel Kopp. Marcel, bronze-rated driver, not as experienced as Chiara Alazari, both young drivers, but Chiara Alazari, we know how quick he is. Matthias Bjerre Jakobsen sharing with Riccardo Cirelli. Maxim Dirks in 4th place is sharing with Sven Bart, the former GT Masters driver, but Dirks is in the junior championship, so wherever Sven Bart brings the car home after the pit stop, those will be the points that Maxim Dirks will get towards the Junior Championship. You can see the gap evolution. So Kiana Alazari has been taking time out of the lead of Matis Plushko. Plushko in the pink car, prepared by BWT Muka, the legendary team, and then another legendary team behind, Mulna Motorsport, and then BWT Muka behind that. So Kiana Alazari in a Muka sandwich, but Mulna very much focusing on emerging talent. Last year they had a shootout for young drivers, and there's a lock-up from Kiana Alazari into turn 4. That's a bit of a replay of what happened at Spa-Francorchamps earlier this year. He's kept the power on. He was pushing hard into turn 4. He's managed to keep it going. He's onto the little escape road, but the rest of the field is going to come sailing through. He had this problem at Spa-Francorchamps earlier this year. Kiana Alazari, who races in many other disciplines, in Formula 4, GB3 Championship as well. And these cars are very different. And without the ABS, you saw him locking up into turn 4, and he's dropped a long way down. You can see here, it was quite a long way back. He was on the braking point. The smoke was coming from the tyres. He almost made it around, but then once you're onto the gravel, you're a little bit of a passenger. The main bit is he kept it out of the fence. He made it to the escape road, but that has really taken the heat off Matis Plushko. It's moved Matthias Pierre Jakobsen up into second place. So BWT Muka 1 and 2, and Jakobsen now 2.4 seconds back from Matis Plushko, and it's certainly taken the heat off. So Kiana Alazari rejoins, but he's in 7th place now. He's got a lot of work to do. He'll be really frustrated by that. BWT Muka 1 and 2. Maxim Dirks moves up into 3rd place. A little weave of the car by Kiana Alazari just to get the gravel off the tyres. There'll be gravel inside it as well. They'll be scattering it for about a lap. It doesn't look as though he's incurred any damage. You can see bits of gravel popping out of the car as he heads out towards turn 4. So he's going to try and get around it without the mistake this time. So this time he slows it down nicely, a nice tidy line into turn 4, but he's down into 7th place. I was about to tell you about the Mulna Motorsport driver program, where they audition drivers, and there the yellow and red flag just indicating potentially maybe some fluid out on the track, and that might be what caught Kiana Alazari out. Or it might just be the gravel that he's dragged on himself. But Mulna Motorsport did an audition, tested many drivers last year. Kiana Alazari came out on top, and he got the seat in the Prototype Cup Germany and was really solid last year. Took a couple of wins, one at Zandvoort, one at the Sachsenring. Took 5 pole positions last year, the 2 wins. Just 17 years old, proving that he is a force to be reckoned with in the world of motorsport. But at the moment, Podium is going to be a bit of a stretch. Zeno Folker has caught up with fellow Conrad Motorsport car Pavel Lefterov. They're going to need to work together to try and get points for BWT Muka, because if the race finishes now, by my calculations, BWT Muka will become the team champions. And if the race finishes now, Matis Plushko and Max Angelard will become the junior champions. But we've still got plenty of time to go. We've got 5 minutes until the pit window opens. It was Gebhardt Motorsport, who are the outgoing team champions. Marcus Pommer and Valentina Catalano won the overall championship last year. Danny Sufi won the junior championship, of course, and Antti Ramo won the trophy championship. Sufi has stepped up as the junior champion, now the brand new champion in Prototype Cup Germany, along with Pavel Lefterov. There's your leader, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, running along the pit straight. The gap between 1st and 2nd at the moment, 2.415. BWT Muka Motorsport will have briefed their drivers. They can race each other, but they can't take each other out, make contact. Thomas Ambiel in 8th place has been given a track limit warning on turn 10. by the race directors. And there he is with Miro Konopka just behind him in 9th place. So Konopka keeping him very much in range. Here they come. Thomas Ambiel in the very pretty green and white car with the red nose up to turn 3. Miro Konopka for ARC Bratislava, who's Rinaldi Racing, as already mentioned, that field Thomas Ambiel's car. And they run towards turn 4. Ambiel keeps it tidy, under braking, hits the apex of the corner, goes a bit deep on the exit of the corner. But Konopka just following behind him at the moment. Konopka, solo driver, Thomas Ambiel, solo driver. So both of them will come into the pits. Both of them will have a minimum pit stop time of 95 seconds. So they're not going to gain anything above each other. Neither of them is carrying any success time. So their pit stops are going to be the identical minimum pit stop time. So any passing is going to have to be done on the track. So next, a couple of minutes still remaining until the pit window opens. So within the next couple of laps, the pit window will open. Our race leader at the moment, the gap between first and second has come down a little, 2.231. And that's Keanu Alazari. So the pit window's not open, so clearly there's an issue there. The blowers are going into the car, and it may just be that it's overheating because the car may well be full of gravel. So Keanu Alazari into the pits. The Mulner Motorsport crew are starting to work on the number 21 car. Marcel Kopp will be wondering whether he is going to get a drive in that car. Both drivers come from United Arab Emirates. And it's not looking good, is it? The team not showing any great urgency to get the car back out on track. The door is open. It looks like Keanu Alazari is going to exit stage right. And it looks like a possibility that Marcel Kopp might not even get a drive in that car this afternoon, which is a real shame. There goes Keanu Alazari, disappears off, having scored that pole position. So it all kicked off here with that lockup into turn 4. Now, whether there was an issue that came as a result of that lockup or whether that lockup caused an issue, but that seemed to be the trigger point for the 21 car then peeling off into the pits. It may well be there was a brake issue on that car. But whichever way, there is Keanu Alazari out of the car. His day is done, and Marcel Kopp is not even going to get to drive the number 21 car. That's such a shame. They got an 8th place yesterday, a pole position today, such high hopes after the qualifying session this morning. But they become the first retirement of the last race of the season. So we are 50 seconds away from the pit window opening, and then it'll be time for the teams to roll the dice in terms of strategy. At the moment, Mattis Plushgol and Max Engelhardt. We've got Mattis from Germany, familiar face in ADAC GT4 Germany over the last couple of years, and Max Engelhardt, the Polish driver, both in the Junior Championship, both leading the championship. So the next time Mattis comes around, there will be the option to peel off into the pits. And in the background, Mathias Bjerre-Jacobsen, another driver from Denmark, who has been so impressive this year, took their first win of this series yesterday. Riccardo Ciarelli, a winner from last year, his co-driver, but Jacobsen enjoying the top step of the podium for the first time in yesterday's race, but will have that lengthy stop of 121 seconds when they come in for their pit stop. So the pit window is open. The cars queue out on track. Many or few, it's better to queue as they come ready for the pit window. Mattis Plushgol out on an open track at the moment. 8 cars still running. Mathias Bjerre-Jacobsen 1.7 behind, so he's certainly putting the pressure on with the pit window open. Of course, BWT Mucker running both of the cars at the front of the pack, so There'll be no strategy that'll be hidden there because it's an open plan as to who's going to come in first for the mandatory stop. Maxim Dirks is 4.9 back from this duo. So neither of them come into the pit lane this time around. Maxim Dirks, he stays out as well. Keeping an eye on Pavel Lefterov. Right, he peels off into the pits. So Danny Sufi, the driver from Texas, who now lives in Dortmund in Germany, will be limbering up, getting ready to jump behind the wheel of the #2 car, their first weekend as the new champions in Prototype Cup Germany. It all came to a premature end yesterday with a mechanical issue, which saw them retiring from the race, their first retirement of the season. So Conrad Motorsport. Lots of shouting going on. Checking the tyre pressures. They may well have somebody out. So it seems to be a little bit of hysteria coming from the garage. So certainly, there's the wash and brush up, getting all the bugs off from up here in the mountains. Make sure the driver can see where they're going. And really important because it's late afternoon here in the Styrian Mountains. The sun is pretty low in the sky. And if you've got mess and bugs on your windscreen, it looks like that. It goes dark. It's really hard to see, particularly when you're driving into the sunshine. The sun very low in the sky at this part of the day. First and second continuing on their way. Maxim Dirks is up into third place. He stays out as well. Zeno Folker is still yet to come in. So we've only had one car that has made the mandatory stop so far. We've still got 7 yet to come in. Out along turn 2, you can see the long shadows. Late summer, early autumn here in the Styrian Mountains. The sun is low. Right, next one into the pit lane. It's the number 80 car, Mikkel C. Johansson, and he'll be getting ready to hand over to Michael Herrick. Another regular runner here at Prototype Cup Germany. So into the Gebhardt Intralogistics Motorsport pit they come. So their minimum pit stop time, 105 seconds. So this should move them up the order. Right, another one coming in as well. It's Konopka, who's guest here, Miro Konopka. He comes in for a stop. He's a solo driver, so he is going to be stationary. From pit entry to pit exit is 95 seconds, so he's going to be stationary for less time than those around him. So this should propel Konopka up the order somewhat. Sufi currently back out on track now, having made his stop. Either of the leading cars going to come in? No, they're not. Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen now 1.4 seconds behind Mattis Pluskov. Right, this is Maxim Dirks, I think. Yes, it is. Into the pit. So his season is done and dusted because Sven Barth, the silver-rated driver from Germany, will now get behind the wheel of the Aust Motorsport Ligier. Aust, a legendary name in the world of German motorsport. And the Ligier coming in, also coming in, Zeno Folker. He's going to be taking the longest stop of all, 120, actually not quite the longest, because Chirelin Jakobsen is 121 seconds, so Zeno Folker will be 120 seconds as he comes to a stop. Again, the cleaning of the windscreen, really important. Folker, I think he's allowed to get out of the car if he wants to, go for a little walk, but he needs to be back in it in a few seconds. You see the clocks ticking down. So the number 80 car, Mikkel C. Johansson's hand over to Michael Herrick, but it looks like their pit stop is taking a lot longer than it needs to. Folker there. Sven Barth, we're getting ready to relieve Maxim Dirks of driving duties. Here come the leading duo once again. They're going to have to come in within the next couple of laps because the clock is starting to run down. So the leader stays out. Right, second place, Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen, the first to blink in the BWT Mucker Motorsport pits. So Riccardo Chirelli will be standing by for his last stint of the season at the wheel of that car. So Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen's season comes to an end. He's done a great job coming into this race. Third in the junior rankings, 11 points off the teammates Mathis Plushkol and Max Angelard. But unless something befalls the 18 car, the junior championship is going to go the way of number 18. The number 8 clock ticking down. They've got that long stop, 121 seconds from pit entry to pit exit. Right, Sven Bart is back behind the wheel. He's going to move up the order here as a result of that shorter pit stop. 119 seconds. Not that much shorter, is it? Plushkol still staying out on track at the moment. We've only got 2 cars that need to come in, but Thomas Ambiel in the 33 car, his minimum pit stop time as a solo bronze driver will be 95 seconds. The continuing challenges go on out on track as we look at the cars in the long shadows. Heading out towards turn 4. Sven Bart, little lock up into the corner. Danny Sufi just behind. Bart, the leading stopper. Car 80 under investigation for a pit stop infringement. So Mikael Herrick under investigation for a pit stop infringement. But there is Sven Bart, the leading stopper at the moment in the car number 4, round at turn 4 at the moment. Riccardo Cirelli having taken over from Matthias Bier-Jakobsen, and there's a penalty lap incoming for car 80, so a visit to the penalty box for Mikael Herrick. He's in last place at the moment, so it's not going to change anything in terms of results. Right, out of turn 10 comes Sven Bart, out along past the pits. There, you can see moving. Riccardo Cirelli's got 3.5 seconds over the minimum pit stop time, according to that clock. So he's going to come out just in front. The momentum with Sven Bart, you can see him hanging the back end around turn 1, in towards turn 2. Looks like Cirelli has done enough to cover off that position. So Cirelli becomes the leading stopper. Still, Plushkol and Ambiel will need to come in. Plushkol is up in turn 7 at the moment, so he's going to have to come in this time around. Also, Thomas Ambiel is going to have to come in as well. He's up at turn 1 at the moment, so he really needs to make sure he can get round as quickly as possible. Must not miss the pit window. So this is going to be critical for the race. Peeling off into the pit lane comes Mathis Plushkol. Max Angelard will be standing by, ready to jump into the seat of the number 18 car. The number 18 is into the pit lane now. The leading stopper, Riccardo Cirelli, at the moment ahead of the 2 cars that you were just looking at. Thomas Ambiel still yet to come in the number 33 cars, up at turn 8 at the moment. Right, to a stop, engine off. So Mathis Plushkol's work is done for 2025. Max Angelard now ready with his seat insert in hand to bring the car home for the final 24 minutes of this race. Thomas Ambiel still looking to see where he is at the moment. He's up at turn 8. He should make it back in time, but it is a little bit tight, isn't it? Running it to the very end of the window into the car gets Max Angelard. So the leading stopper at the moment, Riccardo Cirelli, up towards turn 3. So that is the car that Max Angelard is going to have an eye on, because they're going to, in theory, come out at a fairly similar part of the circuit. But it's that long stop that's ticking down. 117 seconds for car number 18. The door is shut. Now the engine will fire up, and then the weight. They cannot just park up at the white line. Once they're out into the fast lane, they've got to keep rolling. They can't block any other cars either. Good, the car's fired up, that's a good start. And then they will wait until they're given the clearance to leave the pit box. There it goes, they would have back-timed this. The aim being to hit the white line when the clock strikes 0. At the moment, Cirelli in the number 8 car is heading in towards turn 9. So Max Angelard is now rolling, heading towards the white line. There he is in the top of your picture. You can see Riccardo Cirelli coming round onto the pit straight. Now Max Angelard will be on the accelerator. Out of the pit lane he comes, out onto the track he will come to retake the lead of the race. Thomas Ambiel with that shorter pit stop He's going to move up the order, but he's not going to challenge the leading cars. So there is Max Angelard now with no more stops to be done. Thomas Ambiel is done and dusted. Everybody who needs to stop, or has needed to stop, now has been through the pits. Ambiel's back timed that very well, only 6/10 over. No problems there. And ahead of Miro Konopka in the number 4 car, or maybe behind. Konopka has had the hammer down while Ambiel has been in the pits and has sailed past. There is Konopka coming up the hill now, and there is Thomas Ambiel in the background. So, with 21.5 minutes remaining of this 2025 season for the Prototype Cup Germany, we'll wait for Max Angelard to come across the line, and we'll see what the gap is between first and second. But if things remain as they are, it'll be Max Angelard and Matis Plushko who will seal the title of junior champion, subject to confirmation. And by my calculations, it'll be BWT Motorsport who will leapfrog Conrad Motorsport to take the team standings as well. Out across the line we come, so the gap 6 seconds between first and second. Another 5.6 seconds back to third place, Sven Bart. Then is Danny Sufi, who is 6/10 of a second behind Sven Bart. So Danny Sufi fancying one of those Red Bull trophies, along with Pavel Lefterov. But even if he finds a route past Sven Bart in the next 20 minutes, I think the team championship will go to BWT Muka Motorsport, currently first and second in this race. Towards turn 4 they come yet again, lap 20 of this race, with 20 minutes plus 1 lap remaining. Sven Bart, such an experienced pilot, has really felt at home in Prototype Cup Germany, was 9th in the championship last year. Was only eligible for points in the first 2 rounds though, having switched from Ginetta to Duquesne. The driver who was in GT Masters from 2013 to 2019, was the trophy champion in GT Masters in 2019, and was 7th overall and 2nd in the 2003 Formula 3 Germany Championship. Zeno Volker closing in also on Danny Sufi. So Volker in that 5th place. That is Sven Bart. Danny Sufi in the green and black car behind in 4th place. Zeno Volker a little way back, about 5.5 seconds back from the battle that you are looking at now. In the evening shadows, the headlights blazing. Up the hill we come again towards turn 3. Danny Sufi has looked so much at home in Prototype Cup Germany. This, his 39th race in this series. Fulfilled his dream at the Nürburgring to seal the championship. Driver who comes from Texas. He first sat in a racing car at the age of 8. That was a Mazda MX-5, and raced the MX-5s for a few years. Also tried drifting. Seen a bit of that, haven't we, this year? The drifting scene moved to Europe to debut in the Prototype Cup Germany in 2022. Danny Sufi also does a lot of coaching. He's also a website and app developer. I'm sure he'll give you his number if you message him. I mentioned it yesterday, he has a fascination with coffee. I need some of that, been in the commentary box all day today. He is laser sharp and focused. His ambition today is to get one of those Golden Bull trophies to go with the championship trophy that he's going to receive at the season awards at the end of this year, along with Pavel Lefterov, the American and the Bulgarian, becoming title winners. They clinched the championship at the Conrad Motorsport home circuit. Their engineer, Michael Rowe, not at the Red Bull ring for this event, so they were really pleased to clinch the championship with him there at the Nürburgring last time out. Sven Bart holding on to the last of the podium positions. 17.25 minutes remaining of the season. Prototype Cup Germany. Towards turn 4 we come. Max Angelard, 2.4 clear of Riccardo Cirelli. So we'll see how that shakes out, because Riccardo Cirelli is now setting purple sectors, and on the previous lap was 1.6 quicker than the race leader. So this may yet all go down to the wire. Max Angelard, Riccardo Cirelli, 2.4 seconds was the gap, but Cirelli is on a charge. Also on a charge here, Danny Sufi, putting the pressure onto Sven Bart. In towards turn 9 they come, in the shadow of the trees and out onto the pit straight. Right, the gap between first and second is now down to just a fraction over 1 second. So, Riccardo Cirelli turning the heat up on the BWT sister car. If the race remains as it is now, the champion in the junior category would still be Max Angelard and Mattis Pluskul. And if Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen and Riccardo Cirelli, with Cirelli at the wheel, can get in front, it would still be Pluskul and Angelard that would take the junior championship by 6 points. So Cirelli, now having caught up with Max Angelard, putting the pressure on to the pink number 18 car. But if he does get past, the junior championship would still go the way of Max Angelard and Mattis Pluskul as things stand at the moment. The only way that Riccardo Cirelli can win at turn 3, Max Angelard deciding that discretion is the better part of valor. And we have a new leader in the final race of the season in the Prototype Cup Germany 2025. They won here yesterday, looking to make it back-to-back wins in this series here at the Red Bull Ring. Cirelli won twice last year, and those two were at the season closer as well. Max Angelard took a win at Hockenheim this year, Mattis Pluskul too. And Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen took a first win yesterday here at the Red Bull Ring. Now our focus turns to the fight for third place. Sven Bart, as we look again, just briefly, at the challenge and the pass for the lead. But as things stand at the moment, unless Sven Bart can get past, or indeed Danny Sufi can get past the second place car of Max Angelard, the junior championship is still going the way of Max Angelard and Mattis Pluskul. Sven Bart out along the pit straight once again. Danny Sufi has less than 13.5 minutes plus 1 lap to find a route past the very pretty multicolored car in front of him. Towards turn 2, the lights starting to fade here now at the Red Bull Ring, the headlights blazing. Up the hill towards turn 3 once again. Danny Sufi keeping Sven Bart in his sights, but it feels as though unless Sven Bart does make a mistake, that Danny Sufi is going to struggle to get onto the podium. What can he do? We look down at turn 4, under braking into the right-hander once again. Bart just positioning the Ligier car, the identical Ligier behind in the hands of Danny Sufi. Zeno Folker is about 5.1 seconds down the road from them. It's been great to see Zeno Folker at the wheel of that car for 3 rounds of this series this year. Would love to see Zeno Folker coming back next year. He was only karting until 2023. He was in the ADAC Tourenwagen Junior Cup, racing the VW Ups. And that was a couple of years ago. His first experience of LMP3 was this year in the Prototype Winter Series. He got a 5th and a 2nd place. Sven Bart still holding on to that 3rd place. So much pressure, but ever there was a driver with the experience and the wisdom to withhold the pressure of Danny Sufi, then it's Sven Bart. Out they come once again. Our race leaders are up at turn 4 and just exiting turn 4. This is 3rd and 4th going into turn 4. Trelli has broken clear of Max Angelard, 1.9 seconds. But this fight is some 9 seconds back. There's Zeno Folker around turn 4, he comes. 11 minutes remaining. Towards turn 6 and then turn 7 they come. Sven Bart cannot afford to put a wheel wrong. If he does, Danny Sufi will not need one tiny invitation. He will be passed and through. Has a little look. Tries to distract Sven Bart into turn 9. The inside of the marker bollards. Then into turn 10, past the marker bollard that has been dispatched. Down the hill, then up the hill once again. The gap between Bart and Sufi, just half a second. The gap between first and second now up to over 2 seconds. So Sven Bart currently 9.234 back from Max Angelard. So it doesn't look like he's going to be able to help Riccardo Trelli and Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen, because if he could get up there and get involved and help Maxim Dirks to steal some points away in the Junior Championship, but time starting to run out. 9 3/4 minutes remaining. If this remains as it is now, Sven Bart in that 3rd place would score points for Maxim Dirks in the Junior Championship. But if this remained as it is now, the junior champions would be Max Angelard and Mattis Pluskal. 2nd in the points, 6 points back would be Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen and Riccardo Trelli. And 3rd in the junior championship would be Maxim Dirks. In the overall race for the teams, if things finish as they are now, Muka Motorsport would get 25 points. Conrad Motorsport, with Danny Sufi at the wheel, would get the points for 3rd place. And they would actually, looking at this, be level on points. So it could go back to a count back. So with that move, in fact, if Danny Sufi could get past Sven Bart, I think he could take it that the Conrad Motorsport would win the championship for the team. So this suddenly getting quite interesting with 8.5 minutes remaining, because only the highest scoring car scores points in a team. And so even if BWT Muka Motorsport win this one with Trelli, then the points for 2nd place would go to Sven Bart. So that would go to Aust Motorsport. So 3rd place would go to Danny Sufi. So it could be that Conrad Motorsport, having been a prophet of doom for Conrad Motorsport, the pack. So Danny Sufi could be about to win the team's championship for Conrad Motorsport. It would win it by just 3 points. So suddenly, this is all very significant in the team championship. Coming into this race, Conrad Motorsport were just a little ahead of BWT Muka. So 7.5 minutes remaining. The team championship very much up for grabs. So I'm just double checking my dodgy maths. So Trelli would get the points for 1st. The points for 2nd would go to Bart. And the points for 3rd in the team championship would go to Sufi for Conrad Motorsport. So that would give Conrad Motorsport the team championship. We've still got 7 minutes remaining, and it's all very much subject to confirmation. As things stand at the moment, Trelli leading the way from Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen, but not enough to take the junior championship. Max Angelard, along with Mattis Pluskal, would take the junior championship. Remember, the overall championship has already gone to Pavel Lefterov and Danny Sufi. The trophy championship has already gone to Thomas Ambiel. This is for 3rd place, the last of the podium positions. Sven Bart, you can see him in the car there, focused, took over from Maxim Dirks. Such a solid combination. Great drivers, still looking for their first win They've had 3 second places this season. Danny Sufi wanted to shuffle them off the podium in this, the final race of the year. 6 minutes remaining. Trelli has opened up the gap to 4.5 seconds, so looking solid as long as everything holds together. Can't afford to put it in the gravel though. Needs to bring it home to score those points. Second, Max Angelard. Then this enthralling battle for third place. 5 3/4 minutes of the season remaining, plus 1 lap. The Austrian mountains in Styria as a beautiful backdrop. Right, yellow in turn 10 is the number 80 car. Michael Herrich is spun. Now, if he can't get this going, we might see a safety car. He's in a very vulnerable position on the exit of turn 10. Suddenly, this could change everything with 5 1/4 minutes remaining of the season. Now, Michael Herrich has clearly had a moment. The car is spun around. Can he get it going? That is the question. The yellows are waving. The race stewards might decide they can't leave the car there for the last 5 minutes of the season. At the moment, the drivers will be aware and the door is open. So, I think at the very least, we're going to get a full course yellow. We may well get a safety car. Herrich looks like unaided, has gone spinning on turn 10 into the runoff area. He's come back across the track on turn 10. A really vulnerable position to be. I'm pleased to see that he's off the racing line, and the yellow flags will be warning the other drivers. So 4.5 minutes remaining of this season. And if the safety car comes out, there'll be a chance that we may not get running again. So suddenly, Danny Sufi will want to get on. The full course yellow is out, so not a safety car, so no overtaking. So full course yellow, so the gaps should stay as they are, but suddenly no overtaking there as the marshal waving the flag, checking his Instagram as well at the same time. So there is Michael Herrich climbing to safety. The rescue truck comes and they'll try and tow that car to a safe place as quickly as possible. They're near to the pit, no, they're beyond the pit lane entrance, aren't they? So they'll have to double back to take it back into the pit lane. They're telling Michael Herrich to come back and get in the car. Meanwhile, the clock carries on ticking. So let's just have a look at this. All the maths are being done. If Riccardo Trelli stays in this position, it will still be Max Angelard and Mattis Pluskull that will take the junior ranking, because they will get second place points. That'll be 20 points that will elevate them up to 217 from the 197 they had coming into this race. Maxim Dirks would pick up the points for third place because Sven Bart is in that car. So that would shuffle him down into third in the standings, because he would be 8 points adrift, because Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen and Riccardo Trelli with 25 points for a win in the junior rankings would move up into second place, just 6 points back from Max Angelard and Mattis Pluskull. But in the team standings, if things remain as they are, Trelli would get 25 points for BWT Mucker Motorsport. Max Angelard would get no points for BWT Mucker Motorsport. It means that Sven Bart would get the points for second place. That would be 20 points. They're not in the championship hunt. They would be 41 points adrift. But Conrad Motorsport would be bumped up into third place, and they would get 16 points. That would leave them 3 points clear of BWT Mucker Motorsport in the team championship. The marshals have done a great job getting the stricken car to safety. So, with things remaining as they are, Danny Sufi does not need to get past Sven Bart, but would dearly love a trophy to finish off the championship season. Less than 2 minutes remaining. We are back to green flag racing. 1 minute and 50 seconds plus 1 lap. Weaving to get the heat back into the tyres as well. The tyres would have cooled down under that full course yellow. The full course yellow was at about 80 kilometers an hour, so a lot slower than they're racing at the moment. Trelli leads the way. 10.5 seconds clear of Max Angelard, just under 10.5 seconds, so looking solid if everything stays as it is. Engelhard in second place, 6.2 seconds clear of this battle. Sven Bart and Maxim Dirks looking to finish the season off with a podium, but Danny Sufi, Pavel Lefterov, if things remain as they are, will clinch the team championship for Conrad Motorsport as well as the overall championship that they have scored already. We're into the final minute of timed racing, so Riccardo Cirelli's up at turn 9 at the moment. I think he's probably going to get to the start-finish line before the clock strikes 0. He's into turn 10 as things are at the moment. So he's going to cross the line. It'll be 2 more laps of the season remaining. He crosses the line now with 38 seconds on the clock. So 2 laps remaining of this season. 2 laps for Danny Sufi to find a route past Sven Bart. Zeno Folker is 7.8 seconds back from this fight. There's Max Engelhard, just disappearing through your picture. Looks pretty solid in second place. Our race leader is up at turn 3 at the moment. We're fighting for the last of the podium positions. So Danny Sufi fighting for trophies, because even if he didn't finish there, if he dropped out of it, Zeno Folker would get the Conrad Motorsport points, because he is behind the number 2 car. And into turn 5 is our race leader at the moment. About a lap and a half remaining of this 2025 season. For the Prototype Cup Germany, we're looking down at turn 4. The battle for 4th place rages on. Sven Bart, laser focused. What has Danny Sufi got up his sleeve in the last lap and a quarter to try and get past the car in front and get one of those trophies? He didn't get the chance yesterday as a result of that mechanical issue, as Riccardo Cirelli heads out along the pit straight to start the final lap of the race, the final lap of the season, the final lap of race 12, round 6 of the Prototype Cup Germany 2025. The final lap for Danny Sufi to find a route onto the podium for himself and Pavel Lefterov. Up towards turn 1, he will come. Sven Bart, Maxim Dirks holding on to the last of the podium positions at the moment. BWT Mucka Motorsport 1 and 2 up to turn 3 for the very last time. Already round is Riccardo Cirelli. Max Engelhard is going to be the next around that turn 3. But the fight for 3rd place is going to go all the way to the line. Now in towards turn 3 come those 2 cars in 3rd and 4th place. Then towards turn 4 they will come. Cirelli has already dealt with turn 4, that tricky turn. Into turn 6 he comes now, and into turn 7 behind Max Engelhard is round turn 4 as well. We're looking at turn 4 for the very last time for Sven Bart. He goes deep into the corner, maybe anticipating an attack from Danny Sufi for the last of the podium positions. They head into turn 6, but meanwhile Riccardo Cirelli is into turn 9 and heading towards turn 10 for the final corner of the season. It's going to be back-to-back wins in the Prototype Cup Germany 2025 here at the Redbull Ring for Riccardo Cirelli and Matthias Bjerre-Jakobsen. Second across the line is going to come Max Engelhard, and that will secure the junior trophy for himself and Mattis Puskul. Then 3rd for the last of the podium positions, it's going to be Sven Bart and Maxim Dirks. 4th across the line will be Danny Sufi, and along with Pavel Lefterov, they will secure the team championship for Conrad Motorsport. Then Zeno Folker finishes his season with a 5th place, and then we wait for the number 4 car, still up at turn 6 at the moment. Miro Konopka on his journey in the ARC Bratislava car. Some snaking going on for the race winner. Thomas Ambiel will be coming home in 7th place, too far back at the moment. We're still waiting for the number 4 car of Miro Konopka to come across the hill. Here he comes now in the background. The new trophy champion, Thomas Ambiel, mission accomplished in 2025. At the turn 10, he will come out across the line. Konopka in 6th, Thomas Ambiel in 7th to bring the checkered flag down on the 2025 season. Franz Conrad, the living legend. He's won the Drivers' Championship. There is Pavel Lefterov that he congratulates. He's won the Team Championship. But the Junior Championship is going to go the way of Mattis Plushkull and Max Angelard. Riccardo Torelli, Matthias Bjerre-Jakobsen will finish 2nd in the Junior Championship, having taken the fight to the sister car and won the race. Back-to-back wins here at the Red Bull Ring. So as the sun sets here at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, we look at the results, all subject to confirmation. Riccardo Torelli, Matthias Bjerre-Jakobsen did exactly what Torelli did last year. Only took 2 wins, but waited until the final weekend to make it back-to-back wins. And now pulls into Parc Fermé. And Riccardo Torelli, the driver from Italy, one of the up-and-coming superstars. We're seeing so many of them coming through Prototype Cup Germany. There is confirmation of the overall points. That was all settled back at the Nürburgring last time out. A monstrous 41-point lead for Danny Sufi and Pavel Lefterov. There is Riccardo Torelli, always enthusiastic about his racing. And Matthias Bjerre-Jakobsen, the driver from Denmark, spoke to him earlier on in the season. They both said how much they were loving their time in Prototype Cup Germany. And they rounded off their season with back-to-back wins here at the Red Bull Ring. And there in the background, you can see Maxim Dirks congratulating Sven Bart for Aust Motorsport. These two drivers who work so well together. Maxim Dirks from Belgium, Sven Bart from Germany. You have Italy represented by Riccardo Torelli. There is Mattis Plushkull from Germany. You got Max Angelard from Poland. So all nations represented. Of course, Matthias Bjerre-Jakobsen from Denmark as well. Don't forget him. And there, Maxim Dirks offering his congratulations. There's Sven Bart there as well. Mattis Plushkull, this time last year, was in ADAC GT for Germany. He decided that prototypes were the route forwards. And whenever I speak to him, he's buzzing with enthusiasm about his time in this series. Let's have a look at some lovely slow-mo shots of Sven Bart and Maxim Dirks. That livery, I hope we're going to see that again in the future. It's a pain to have to colour match it. Max Angelard, Mattis Plushkull, securing the junior ranking title with that 2nd place. But the winner here this weekend, Riccardo Torelli and Matthias Bjerre-Jakobsen, they take the top step of the podium to conclude an excellent season for Prototype Cup Germany. There is Matthias Bjerre-Jakobsen on the right-hand side, Riccardo Torelli on the left. And they will shortly head up to the podium to receive the winners' trophies. And I'm sure that Creventic and the ADAC will have a ceremony separate from this to present the overall trophies for the season. This championship that started back in 2022. And it was then that we saw Berke Besler and Marvin Dienst taking the overall title. Berke Besler is racing in GT4 Germany this weekend, along with Gabriella Piana. In 2023, we saw Marcus Pommer, another former driver, race winner in GT Masters, along with Gary Hauser taking the overall win. And then Marcus Pommer defended the title successfully last year on playing catch in the pit lane. Yeah, thank you, needed that. Valentina Catalana, another legend. He won the championship last year along with Marcus Pommer. Pit lane turned into a rugby pitch, I think, in the closing stages. Last year, the junior champion was Danny Sufi and Antti Ramo, and Gebhardt Motorsport won the team championship. So Conrad have stolen that away. First time Conrad have won the championship for the teams in the Prototype Cup Germany. We had Max and Mark van der Snel, who won the junior and trophy categories in 23. Donna Munding, who won the junior trophy, and Matthias Luton, who won the trophy championship in 2022. So a real collection of talents engraving their names on the various trophies in the Prototype Cup Germany. And lots of new names here this year. Danny Sufi stepping up from junior championship to overall championship. Pavel Lefterov, what a debut season. Some emotions there in the BWT Muka Motorsport pits. Friends, family looking on. A lot of time and energy invested in this sport. And I really hope that we're going to see these 5.6 litre Nissan V8 engines again. I shall miss the rumble when they are finally retired. Of course, a much higher revving engine now replacing in LMP3 worldwide. This is the only professional series that still runs the old formula, and we love it. As we just wait now for the drivers to make their way onto the podium. There's a fair old climb up there, high up. And you can see them now in the background getting ready. The champagne that is supplied by Ralf Schumacher, and we saw him and David Schumacher last year at the Nürburgring racing in this series. That's a little sideline for Ralf Schumacher, the wine industry, and provides all of the celebratory wine and champagne that we have here on an ADAC and DTM race weekend. There's Maxim Dirks and Sven Bart. Two drivers that have really just worked together so well. Mattis Plushko and Max Angelard, by my calculations, having clinched the junior championship. Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen and Riccardo Cirelli, back-to-back wins here this weekend at the Red Bull Ring. So Cirelli and Jacobsen take the top step in the junior race, getting points in the junior championship. Miro Konopka wins in the trophy championship today, wins the trophy race. And from BWT Muka Motorsport, a representative to receive the team trophy as well. It's a busy podium as we get ready for the national anthem. So with the national anthem done, it's now time for the trophies to be unboxed. Matthias Bjerre-Jacobsen and Riccardo Cirelli. Guido Kumbach, who is the project manager, does a phenomenal job for Prototype Cup Germany, presents the second place trophies. And Max Dirks and Sven Bart, another trophy for the mantelpiece. And then the winner of the junior race, the leading junior finishers, go to Cirelli and Jacobsen. The leading trophy finisher, Miro Konopka. And then finally, a trophy for the team winners for BWT Muka Motorsport. And they will get a trophy as well. Yet another one for such a legendary team. So as the drivers crowd together for the photographs, we reflect on what has been a wonderful season. The fourth season for Prototype Cup Germany, organised by the ADAC in collaboration with Creventic. It was a season that kicked off back in April at Spa-Francorchamps. These cars scaling the heights of Eau Rouge into Raidillon. And now, many months later, in the Styrian Mountains in Austria, the season comes to a close. We know the identities of the overall champions, the trophy champions, the junior champions, and the team champions. I do hope you've enjoyed Prototype Cup Germany 2025. It has been a real privilege to bring you the commentary this year. We do hope to see you again from all of us here at the ADAC and Creventic. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.